All right, so number 17, compound inequalities, and today is the BF. Let's see, and Andy Jane, would you shut my door for me over there, please? All right, so 17. Compound inequalities. So what do you think compound means? Put together with something else? Okay. So, and pretty much, do what, Marisol? More than one step? Okay. How about more than one inequality? So before we've just been having like 2x plus 3 greater than 5. Today, because that's one inequality, today we're going to have two inequalities. So a compound inequality is when we have two inequalities joined by the word and or. So just like when you have a compound sentence, you've got something thrown in there. So with our compound inequality, we have something extra. All right, and let's just look at how the answer's written before we get into solving these. So let's just say I have the statement that x is greater than or equal to -5 and x is less than or equal to 7. So when you've got and, think about what this is saying, that x is greater than or equal to -5, so it kind of gives you a limit on the bottom, and then it says that and x is less than or equal to 7, so we have a limit on the top. So they're really giving you a range of where your set of solution is. Instead of just saying, oh, it's everything greater than 5, and we can't name them all, now we've got a range. So when we would graph this, I'll make this a little bigger. Think about what's your smallest number, what's your biggest number. So I'm really just looking from -5. Probably didn't make my number line big enough, but all the way up to 7. Squeeze it in. Okay. So I'm looking from -5 to 7. And if x is greater than or equal to -5, what kind of dot's going to be on the -5? Closed, right. We're going to have a closed circle. And it says x is greater than or equal to -5, so we know it's everything to the right. But it says that x is less than or equal to 7, so that's my cutoff. Where it joins. And it'll also be solid, because we've got that double symbol. So that's the area where our solutions lie. So our solution could be -5, anything in between, and it could also be 7. Okay. All right. And that could also be written as -5 is less than or equal to x less than or equal to 7. See how I join that? Put your x in the middle because that's what they share. You just have to be careful of your sign, because this said x was greater. X is still greater, so that's why I had to flip that sign over. So we can write it either way. We can see it either way. All right, let's look at one that has or. So that's our and we need to make a note of that. highlight that, mark it, do something. No, that's our example for our and. And let's say this one I have x is less than -3 or x is greater than 2. So think about x less than -3. What would that look like on the number line? An open circle, an arrow going to the left. All right, what about x greater than 2? What's that going to look like? Open circle, arrow going to the right. So when I make this number line, I don't want to just go from -3 to 2. I want to at least get a few in each direction. So x is less than -3. So open circle to the left, and then we said x greater than 2, open circle to the right. Okay? So those are where my solutions lie. So the numbers that don't work are from -3, because is -3 part of your solution? No, because remember it's got an open circle, so it's not part of it. So the ones that don't work are -3 to +2, all those numbers in between. So our solutions would be this area. Okay. All right. Now let's look at if we're given a statement to write the inequality from. Let's say I've got all real numbers. And remember we mentioned the other day that the number system we use right now is called the real number system, so that's why they're saying all real numbers. When you get into higher math, you'll learn about other number systems. But all real numbers that are at least -2 and at most 4. Now, we talked about these words the other day when we sorted them out on our Jamboard. Remember, we had all those categories and we had to pull the words in to know what they meant. So at least, what category did that go? What was it? Greater than or equal to, because we said it's kind of like the words really are the opposite of what they sound like. Because if it says that are at least -2, -2 is what? The smallest. It's the minimum. Okay? And then it says at most 4, so what kind of symbol would get at most? Yeah, less than or equal to, because 4 is your top limit. So if we were going to write that, we said the at least, so x is greater than or equal to -2, and they gave you the word and. And x is, it says at most 4, so what do we say we use? Less than or equal to 4. So we can write it like that using the word and, or we can put them together. What's it going to look like if we put it together? Yeah. So we would have to flip that first sign, but the last part can stay. So that means the same thing. All right, we good so far? Okay. All right. Let me give you, let me get some. All right, let's do one more of those. Let's say we've got the problem, today's temperature will be above 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but not as high as 40 degrees Fahrenheit.
Pardon this interruption, teachers. Skyward is down this morning.
All right, so see if you can write your compound inequality for that. Go ahead and graph this one also. Write your inequality and go ahead and graph it. All right, let's look at what we got. So it says today's temperature will be above 32 degrees. So what's that going to look like? So X is what? So X is greater than 32. And yeah, somebody said this would be an open circle. All right, what about, but not as high as 40 degrees? So X is less than 40. So let's go ahead and put it together just while we're here. So I can write that as 32 what? Yeah, less than X, less than 40. Okay. So I heard open circle. What's my number line need to look like? Yeah, because are we looking at anything outside of 32 and 40? No, because they're keeping it within. All right, and y'all said open circles on both? So no big deal there. Okay. All right, everybody good on that? Okay, let's look at solving some of these. Let's say I've got, this is what it's going to look like. It'll have your number, -4, less than r minus 5, less than or equal to -1. It'll all be joined together. Okay. All right, now this is an and. Okay. This is an and. When we have an or, it will say or. Okay. But this is an and when this is in the middle because they're sharing this piece. Now, we've got two different ways we can solve it. One way is we can separate it out. Because that's really what you have is this inequality and this inequality, and they just merged them together. They've used the part that they share. They've just written it one time. All right, well, we know how to solve these inequalities. Let's just take this one. How do we get r by itself? We're going to add 5 to each side. And we got -4 is, oh, sorry, not -4. What is -4 plus 5? Yeah, 1 would be better. So 1 less than r. I'm going to put my word. All right, so then what about this side? What do we do? Add the 5, because you're always working to get r isolated. So then r is less than or equal to how much? 4. Okay. All right, so we can write it like that. Let's go ahead and let's write it together. I've got, it's set up and nothing has to flip. So 1 is less than or less than or equal to 4. That's what it looks like. All right, what's this going to look like graphed? So yeah, 1 through 4. And what kind of circle is the 1 going to have? Open. And then what kind of circle is the 4 going to have? Yeah, closed. Because it's a double symbol. So is 1 part of your solution set? No. Is 4 part of your solution set? Yes. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to use this. Well, I don't have a lot of space. I'm going to do it right here. I'm going to show you a quicker way to basically do that. Okay. So let's go back to that original problem, that -4 less than r minus 5 less than or equal to -1. What was the first thing we did in both problems? We added 5 to each side because that's what's in the middle, that's what's going to happen. So let's just do that. Let's just do it together. So that's gone, which is what we wanted. -4 plus 5 is still 1. Still less than. Got r in the middle. Less than or equal to. And -1 plus 5 is still 4. You can separate them if you need to, but when it's an and, you can just solve it by whatever's with the variable. Just do it all 3 places. Just go ahead and take it out. How many like that way better? I do. I mean, it's a lot quicker, and then you're still just graphing it the same way. It didn't change that. But if you need to separate it out, if that helps you keep things straight, that's fine. Separate it out. All right, let me give you one to do. Let's do -3 less than 2x minus 1 less than 7. All right, see what you can do with that one. Solve it and graph it. All right, so what do we got to move first? The 1. So we're going to add 1 everywhere. So that's gone. So -3 plus 1 is -2 less than 2x less than 7 plus 1 is 8. So now think about here, if this is confusing to you, just, cover up one side and just think, okay, if I only had 2x less than 8, what would I do? And you would divide by 2 everywhere. Okay. So those are gone. So -2 divided by 2 is, so -1 less than x less than 4. Okay. How many got to that part? Everybody got that answered? For the most, okay. All right, and then when you solved, or when you graphed it, what numbers do I need? Yeah, I just need -1 through 4 because it's going to be, it's an and, so they're joined. And am I looking at open or closed circles?
Pardon this interruption. Skyward should be up and functional. If you'll try to put in your attendance, let us know if you have any problem.
Okay. All right, so -1, open circle. The 4, you said open circle, and they're joined. Okay. So and is sharing space, so they should join. Right, yeah, good quit. Yeah, you only flip, and we still could flip at some point, but the number, if this had been a negative 2x and then dividing, then we would have had to flip both signs. So still watch for that. We just haven't come across a negative yet. Yeah. Glad you brought that up, Riley. All right, let's do some OR. I'm gonna do this as number 1 since we're switching. Let's say I've got 4x plus 3 less than negative 5 or negative 2x plus 7 less than 1. Okay. Now these are going to work as two separate inequalities because they're not sharing, it's an OR. All right, so go ahead and work both sides. You know how to solve their inequality. Yes, and graph. All right, so who wants to do the first one here for me, the 4x? Who's got it? All right, Kane, what do you got?
I subtracted 3 by negative 5.
Okay, so he said
negative 8.
Right.
4x is less than negative 8. I divided by 4 on each side. And I got x is less than negative 3.
All right. How many got the x is less than negative 2? Okay, good, good. All right, Marisol, what about on the right side? That's all right. We'll go through it together. So we're bringing down our negative 2x and less than. All right, so what is 1 minus 7?
Negative 6.
Thank you, Marisol. Okay, negative 6. All right, go from there, Marisol. All right. So we're dividing by negative 2. What's that going to do to our sign? Flipping our sign. So then, Marisol, what is negative 6 divided by negative 2? 3. So I have x is less than negative 2. So what does that look like? Open or closed? Open, going to the left. All right. X greater than 3 is open, going to the right. All right. So let's graph it. All right, so we said open and to the left, and we said open and to the right. In which we can pick, because let's think about that for a minute. What about this negative 3? All right, it fills this, right? It works. So if we plug in negative 3, what is 4 times negative 3? Negative 12. Negative 12 plus 3 is negative 9. Is negative 9 less than negative 5? Yes. All right, it worked for that one. Let's plug it in over here. So negative 2 times negative 3 is 6. 6 plus 7 is 13. Is 13 less than 1? No. So that's why you got to think about what you've got here. We've got an OR. Okay? But you should be able to pick your numbers and plug in to make sure you got them because they're two separate problems. Now up here, if I had picked out this 2, should it work for both of those separate inequalities? Yes, it'll work when you plug them in. Okay. All right, now let me give you the graph and you write the inequality, the compound inequality from it. Okay. All right, let's look at what you got. Let's see. Savannah, what did you put for number 2? Is it an and or an or? It's an and. So if it's an and, I can put X in the middle. Okay? That might help you where to get started. All right, and then so you know your two outside numbers are what? Do what? What's your 2 numbers? Yeah, 1 and 4. So I got 1 and 4. So all I need now is my symbols. You know the left one is going to be a double symbol, right? All right, so is 1 greater than or equal to X, or is 1 less than or equal to X? Think about X is anywhere here in the middle. It's 1 is less than or equal to X, because think about, you got X is the bigger numbers, okay? And I know that's kind of hard to write because we're used to writing it with X on the left side, and your symbol can point in the same direction as your line, but the number is on the left side. All right, and then X is what then the 4? Less than or greater than? Less than. Okay, so 1 is less than or equal to X, because this is where X is, and then X is less than 4. How many got that inequality written? Okay, good, good. All right, let's try number 3. What kind of graph is number 3? It's an OR. All right, so I'm going to have 2 inequalities. So this one's a little easier to write because you don't have to think about what it's going to look like. Let's just do the left side. So X is what then -1? X is less than. All right, and then on the right side, X is, yeah, greater than or equal to 0. Okay, how many got that one? Okay, yeah, the ORs are a little easier to write because the ands you're putting it together, so you really have to just think about those numbers. What's that going to sound like? Okay, all right, I'm going to stop there with you. I'm going to give you your homework and let you get started on it while you're here with